The one thing he actually always says that he wished he would have done was he wishes he could have actually seen himself shoot 59.
The Geiberger video was lost forever.
I know what the putt felt like, but I've never seen myself do it.
There is a little something I want to show you. We have the video.
You do?
The all-time pro record.
What a great moment. 36 years after the fact, that's Al Geiberger, for the first time ever, seeing the video of his historic round in 1977 when he became the first player ever to shoot 59 on the PGA Tour. The local reporter who had originally covered the story stumbled on the only remaining copy of the tape when he was cleaning out a closet. He brought it to us. We showed it to Al. Since then, a sixth player has joined the 59 club. Jim Furyk achieved the feat at last year's BMW Championship. Certainly an amazing performance, but maybe not the most impressive story we came across last year. Each day, freelance writer Michael Labrie rises early to wrestle with the English language.
I'm a writer because it's like breathing for me.
If you knew Michael Labrie, you'd know it all makes perfect sense. After all, who better to tell an amazing story than somebody who's lived one?
As a young baby, he was all boy. He would get into every single thing.
Little boys have a way of doing just that. But on September 14th, 1991, ironically, he was just minding his own business, playing in the safety of a neighbor's garage.
I remember watching Notre Dame and Michigan on the couch. And my wife had taken my son next door.
I was actually using the bathroom, and I heard a bang.
And I saw smoke streaming out from the garage at the house next door. And I knew something wasn't right. And then the rest was just total calamity.
This is what it looks like when a faulty water heater explodes, which is exactly what happened that day, just a few feet in front of Michael Labrie. In a matter of seconds, he was severely burned over 95% of his body.
I remember being on the ground. I remember my skin feeling like hot mud. And looking around and kind of feeling as if my body was falling off me. I remember watching my pointer finger fall off onto the garage floor.
I just screamed and tried to wipe the fire off of him, and it came back on. And then I carried him and threw him in a puddle, trying to cool him off.
The waistband to his briefs, that's all that was left.
I remember asking them, just tell me if he was going to survive, because that was my #1 question. Is he going to live? Is he going to live? And for 6 months, no one would tell me.
There wasn't a whole lot of hope. And his fingers were so tiny. He's 3 years old. Over time, they just sort of fell off. Yeah. Bandage change, oop, finger comes off.
How many surgeries have there been?
Mid-70s.
Mid-70s, and when was
74, 5.
It is 22 years later, and Michael Labrie is doing what he loves to do most. He is playing golf. These last 2 decades started as a battle to live, but soon became nothing more than a puzzle to solve. How could the curious little boy who got into everything eventually do everything that he wanted to do?
I had to learn it all differently. I had to learn everything differently usually.
With hands severely damaged by the accident, you'd imagine golf, the very first fundamental of which is a sound grip, would be a fantasy.
I come from a family of golfers, so it was never a matter of if I could play, but when and how. I think I had to learn how to hold the club. That was the most difficult part.
How many different iterations of a grip do you think you went through before you found the right one?
Today or in the past? I'm going to say probably over 100. I've tried every way my hands bend or hold anything. I got a club, one of my dad's old clubs, and I just started kind of messing around on the backyard. And I couldn't hold the club righty. Couldn't do it, couldn't bend my wrist, didn't have the body for it. I did it on repetition, sometimes to the furthest extent possible. I would hit about 1,000 balls a day to about 1,200 balls a day in my front yard every single day chipping.
Despite his physical limitations, very little stands in Labrí's way.
I like using my hands, you know? They're mine.
So even though he became talented at so many things, he always came back to perhaps one of the hardest: golf. In high school, he lettered 3 times on a team which won the state championship. Now he holds a single-digit handicap. Whoa! What's the best score you've ever had?
For 18?
Yeah.
71. 71.
71.
Yep.
You dog. You can't do many things in a conventional way.
Exactly. I have to constantly, at all times, be creative.
Which is, of course, what a good writer needs to do. To tell a good story. A story like Michael Labrí's.
I'm proud of Michael just because he turned out to be a wonderful man that's had to accomplish more than most people have to accomplish. I'm just proud of him.
Do you think you're extraordinary?
No. Don't.
You think you're unusual?
I think I'm unusual, but I think we all are.
He's not supposed to have survived this.
He's not supposed to have survived it. And if he did survive it, he's not supposed to be succeeding at such a high level. Yeah.
But he is.
But he is. How cool is that?
Mike told us this week that he always thought he'd be a teacher. It was just that he thought he'd be teaching literature. Well, at least for the time being, it hasn't quite worked out that way. Not long after we first brought you Mike's story, he was offered a position as a teaching professional at Ballymead Country Club near his home on Cape Cod. His lesson book, he tells us, is full. He still writes every morning, but his direction is clear. This spring or summer, he plans to try for his PGA Class A certification.